First up this evening, Kamal Haasan's Thug Life may be losing its battle at the box office, but it has the support of the apex court for a Karnataka release. While hearing a PIL, the top court said the movie must be allowed to release in Karnataka and ordered the transfer of the case in the Karnataka High Court to the apex court. Emphasizing the importance of the rule of law, the court said that mobs and vigilante groups cannot be allowed to take over the streets. Kamal's comments at function on Kannada being born out of Tamil led to sharp reactions and demand for a ban on the film. The actor's clarification did not pacify Kannada groups and even state ministers who had sought a ban. The apex court today said, and I quote, "We can't allow this to happen. Rule of law demands that any person should be allowed to release a film. It can't be at the fear that the theatres will be burnt." Thus, the apex court's observations put the state government in a tough spot. Joining me now is A.S. Ponnanna, Congress MLA and Chief Minister Siddaramaia's legal advisor. Sir, thanks very much for speaking to us. The apex court's observation could put the government in a tight spot. While a final order hasn't been passed, the court's observation that rule of law demands that any person should be allowed to release a film could put the Karnataka government in a delicate position as far as Thug Life is concerned.
No, we have no qualms whatsoever with what the Supreme Court has to say. But my pointed question, which I have been time and again trying to get an answer for, is why did the producer even move court? You see, what Kamal Haasan said, like I have said before on your show, has hurt the sentiments of the Kannadigas. Whether he chooses to apologize or not, the people of Karnataka demand an apology from him. And I've also said that we have stood by him when he was in need. So whether he chooses to apologize or not is a personal call that he must make. But the state has never denied or never rejected him permission to release the movie. So why did he go to court is a big question mark. You see, this looks more like a publicity stunt, and I'm hoping that the judicial justice dispensation system is not misused for this purpose. See, few organizations who were hurt by what he said gave a call that they will, not allow this movie to be released. But it is not the government's call. It's not the state's call. And it is not his case that he came to us seeking for protection and we denied it. It is not his case that he came and represented to the state that he has some fear that his movie may be, kind of interfered with. Yes, they will set these things. Straight away, he rushes to court. Honorable High Court of Karnataka said, you apologize, considering the sentiments of the people. It was just a small little action that was required from him. He should have shown the magnanimity to have said sorry if it has hurt the sentiments of the people of Karnataka. But he did not do so. That is another matter altogether. But why is he going? And rule of law must prevail. I agree with that. And I'm sure the state of Karnataka in entirety, and especially the government, agrees with that. And we will ensure rule of law prevails, whatsoever may be the case. But see, don't go to court without reason.
Okay.
Because few organizations have taken up arms against what he has said.
You're making a nuanced point, sir. While you state that the rule of law will be followed, the state never opposed the release is the point you're trying to make. It was private Kannada organizations that opposed it, and the producer moved the court against them. Keeping that aside, what about the more practical issues? Even if the state protects the release of the film, will distributors and exhibitors be open to releasing the film in such an atmosphere?
Oh, that's a very valid point that you make. But I do not have too much details about what the exhibitors feel, what the distributors feel about the movie, and whether they would want to risk, hurting sentiments of the Kannadiga people. But the point remains that as a movie maker, if people are agitated about something you said, about the content of your movie, it's up to you. I mean, you can change that and ensure that there is a smooth, give and take. Or you can insist that your fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, which we stand by. We stand by Kamal Haasan's and the movie makers' right. But, end of the day, we must look at larger public interest. Everybody must look at larger public interest. There is no point, no purpose served in hurting people and affecting their mindsets and then trying to impose yourself with what you've said. So the movie per se has nothing to do with what the Kannadigas are feeling right now. It is what the actor of the movie, I don't know if he's partly producer of that movie, has said about the language and about Kannadigas.
Okay.
That's the whole issue.
All right.
But as
Thank
far
you
as as far as his right to express himself is concerned, we stand by that. It's a fundamental right guaranteed under the Constitution. As a state, we cannot deny him. He is totally entitled to it, and rule of law must prevail and will prevail in the state of Karnataka.
Thanks very much, Mr. Ponnanna. You're making a categorical point that the state will stand by Kamal Hassan's right, but there could have been other ways to deal with the issue. Well, also joining me this evening, former ADGP Sanjay Sahai, an online editor of the Deccan Chronicle, Reshmi. Thanks to both of you for joining me here this evening on the show. First to you, Reshmi. From a movie point of view, and let's leave the legal and political issues aside, given that it's had a lackluster response in the box office, below par performance at the box office, how much does it matter business-wise for the movie to actually hit the Karnataka markets if it eventually does?
I think it's too late in the day right now because the outcome has been discussed and the critics' view has come out. So I don't know how much of a difference does it make for the filmmaker to actually release the movie right now. But having said that, I think considering the larger interest of the filmmaker, because movie is not just Kamal Hassan, it also means the filmmaker, the producer, a lot of technicians who have worked on it. And also one point I would like to make here is Karnataka is one state where people watch movies in the same language and they don't watch the dubbed versions. This has always been the case with Karnataka. Like a Tamil movie gets a lot of viewership in Karnataka. The same with Telugu as well. So I think it is a huge loss for the filmmaker that this happened. Very unfortunate. But right now, I think, I don't know how much of a difference will it make to the business.
So in many ways, then it's, leaving the business aside, it's more a symbolic assertion of his right to release a film in Karnataka. Sanjay Sahai, on the one hand, what the Apex Court has today observed, there are multiple issues that are at play here. From a practical point of view, how difficult would it be to ensure that the movie has a smooth release in Karnataka, given the kind of sentiments that one has seen so far?
See, first and foremost, it has to be unequivocally stated by the government that we will take care of all the security arrangements. And I think precisely for that reason, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has given a day's time to file in the counter affidavit and the government to tell them as to what the processes would be and how it will be taken care of. There is no denying the fact that the sentiments are against the movie primarily because of what Kamal Hassan has said, and that sentiments still stands. So the likelihood of some odd thing happening, I think that cannot be ruled out. But certainly, if the state is ready to put all its might to maintain the law and order situation in Karnataka, so I don't think that it will be very difficult. But the necessary precautions need to be taken, and the clarity of the government that we are completely with whatever Supreme Court says, and also in a tangential manner that we are all in favor of release of this movie. So that connect between Supreme Court's order and the release of this movie, that has to be very clearly stated and understood by the public mind. So that becomes very, very important. I remember very correctly I think around 2 decades back or somewhere in that vicinity, that I think it was Mr. S.M. Krishna's government and Mr. Nariman was fighting the case. It was some dispute, Kaveri dispute was there. And at a particular point in time, the government said that there is a likelihood of law and order problem, and so we will not be able to do whatever was stated or whatever was the tribunal's order. At particular point in time, the Supreme Court told precisely the same thing, that it is your job to maintain law and order, and you cannot come with an alibi. So the whole issue today is that it was an extrajudicial ban. And whatever the spokesperson or whosoever talking on the behalf of the government might say, this movie, the fact is the movie has not been released. That's the reality of life.
Right.
Had this thing not happened, movie would have been released on 5th of June. That's point number one.
Right.
Point number two, with regards what High Court said and what the sentiments High Court is supporting or looking for. High Court was completely, their judgment was thoroughly misplaced. And I'm not saying that, the Supreme Court of India is saying that, and it says very clearly it is none of the job of the High Court to ask for an apology.
Right.
And with regards to rule of law, 100% is shattered. There is absolutely no doubt about it.
All right.
We are not getting
You
into
made
the
the point.
causality of it. We saw the
Right.
Bangalore stampede also.
You made a categorical point. I mean, I think you've made a very categorical point. There are multiple dimensions to it. The key issue is how is the state government going to deal with it? We'll have to wait for that reply. But thanks to both of you for joining me here on the Southern View this evening. Of course, Thug Life, as I mentioned, having a lackluster performance at the box office and other markets.